starting off at the vulture habitat here at the zoo, but we won't be focusing on resident vultures today. Instead, we'll take a closer look at turkey vultures who seem to have enjoyed their time at the zoo so much they've practically become members. If you've ever looked up while at the Detroit Zoo, you've probably seen turkey vultures circling above, even in winter when most turkey vultures in the north decide to head south for warmer weather. The turkey vultures who spend time in the zoo stay put. Take a closer look at the turkey vulture and let us know in the comments below how you think they got their name. Despite what some might describe as an ominous appearance when circling above as a group, turkey vultures are not a threat to the resident animals who live outdoors. To learn more about how turkey vultures coexist with zoo residents, we'll hear from Matt, a bird department zookeeper for the Detroit Zoological Society.
Hi everybody, my name is Matthew and I am a zookeeper here at the Detroit Zoo. And today we wanted to talk about a really unique species of bird, the turkey vulture, who is a migrant bird from Michigan. But uniquely, recently, some of the turkey vultures have started to overwinter at the zoo. They are a species that has a pretty broad range. They are seen throughout North America and throughout Central and South America. But in the northern end of their range, such as Michigan, they generally migrate south for the winter. In the early 2000s, it was picked up on that a couple turkey vultures were actually staying at the zoo year-round. And it's pretty fascinating because throughout the years, this group has actually grown. And when you think about migrating with birds, it's a very tough process. I mean, there's a lot of risks associated with migration. You have to travel great distances, and it costs a lot of energy. So it's a pretty interesting strategy that some of these turkey vultures have picked up on. As the wild turkey vultures come into the zoo grounds, they certainly like to share different areas with our animals. But we don't see any negative consequences or interactions. I think the biggest thing we notice is that the turkey vultures are very smart, and they'll actually come into our other vulture habitats like the one behind me, and they will happily decide to share their food with them. That being said, we always make sure that we're feeding enough so that our birds here have plenty to eat, but also the wild turkey vultures, they can get in on a quick snack. Some people, they see turkey vultures and it's a pretty big, intimidating bird, and they wonder, could they harm my pet? But as a rule, turkey vulture is a carrion eater, so they're looking for a dead prey item. Very unlikely that a turkey vulture would go after a pet.
Before we ask Matt any more questions, we have a question for you. How does a turkey vulture's claw compare to the talons of a bird of prey like the eagle?
Last year in the summer of 2020, there was a young turkey vulture who unfortunately had gotten out of the nest before it was completely fledged. The Detroit Zoo took it in, and we took it over to an area where we have some of our other vultures. So we kind of just nurtured it and, let it learn how to eat on its own. And we cared for it for a matter of weeks, and eventually it got more and more used to the idea that, it could do everything itself. And eventually it ended up fledging and got released. We have one who has been a resident here for a long time. It came from another zoo in the 80s and does great in one of our African yards, and it goes out every year, and kind of unique because we'll see the wild ones come in and they'll interact.
Now that you've learned how the zoo helps support visitor turkey vultures in our backyard, find out how you can help visitor birds in your own backyard.
We're talking about our backyard birds and what we can do to help them. One thing I always like to let people know is if you're going to use feeders to feed birds at your home, make sure you feed them year-round. I know it can be hard to get out there sometimes to trudge through the snow and keep that feeder full. That's just the most important time of the year because a lot of these guys will become reliant on that food source.
With that helpful tip, you can now turn your backyard into a year-long winter habitat. Thank you for watching.